Hello, I'm Jordan Holloway and welcome to episode 2 of my weekly blog. Now Saturday was a team match. It was the Angling Trust Winter League final held on the Drains and Decoy Lakes. Now to the run up to this Angling Trust Winter League final, our team actually qualified from fishing the River Soar. There was 6 teams fishing the River Soar and it was over 6 rounds and we won every round as a team. I actually finished 3rd individual with 4 wins, a second and a second to last, which weren't ideal, but still a good result. And yeah, so I was at Decoy. I fished Decoy on the Winter League final last year, and I didn't have a very good time, to be fair. I only beat one person in the section, so this year I was hoping for a better result. Now this year I didn't go practicing because I didn't want to have any preconceived ideas in my head. I'd rather have gone there and fished what I thought was right, and that's the way I wanted to fish it this year. So I didn't go practicing, and on the actual day of the match I was drawn on Elm 22, which, speaking to a lot of the regulars and people who fish it a lot, it wasn't a fancy draw on the day, but obviously there was still a job to be done. So I went there, I set up a hybrid feeder to fish just around the middle of the lake into any gaps there might be, and there might be a few fish holding in these gaps, so I set up a hybrid feeder. I set up a long pole to fish pellets and maggots, and I set up an edge rig to fish with maggots and pellets also. Now I started on the hybrid feeder with micros and a little wafter. Didn't have a bite when other people around me caught a few fish short on pellets, which wasn't exactly ideal. Now I started my match on the hybrid feeder, which didn't actually turn out to be the best move. I caught one F1 on the hybrid feeder while there was a few people around me who caught 3 or 4 F1s on the short pole and pellets. And if I'd have gone back there, that's how I would have started. It was a bad mistake by me, and I definitely should have started like that. But anyway, as it happened, I moved on to the long pole where I'd fed some micro pellets and some maggots, and I caught quite well. I caught a big carp, about 12 pound, a few barbel, a few F1s and a few skimmers. Quite a nice mixed net, to be fair. And all the time you could only catch 1 or 2 fish from that line, and then I had to change to the edge where I'd catch a barbel if I'm lucky. So in the last half an hour of the match I needed somewhere to catch a good run of fish just to get me really good points in the section. So what I did in the edge was big pot maggots and micros and fished 2 maggots over it. And luckily for me, I had 4 carp. 3 actually got in, but 1 unluckily I foul hooked in the tail, got it all the way to that net. It was coming across the surface and the hook just pulled out, and that fish probably has cost me a few places. But anyway, I think I finished halfway in my section from a peg everyone was saying wasn't a good draw, so it was a good result really. Our Decoy team actually scored 27 points on the day, which was the 4th best team result there, and the Drains team scored 33, so we finished on 60 points, which put us 3rd as a team. We were 3rd last year, 3rd this year. It would have been nice to go on a bit better, but it's top 3, you can't moan at that. Drennan Borden actually won, and Stanjay was 2nd. I'd just like to run you through the tackle I actually used on the day. The elastic I choose to use is Preston. I use mainly Preston light hollow elastics I use an 8 Jura, a 9 hollow, a 10 Jura and an 11 hollow from the Preston range, and I think they all work beautifully. It lasts really long in my pole. And my elastic for in the middle of the lake was the 10 Jura, and in the edge I used the 11 hollow. The rigs themselves are actually tied up on 017 power line. It's the line I tie all my rigs on really for carp fishing this time of year up until it goes really, really cold again. It might get cold again and I'll step down to 015. It's just a little bit nicer, but while it's warm and the fish are feeding, 017 is my line of choice. The floats actually used on the day were, I either used an F1 slim for if when it would calm in the middle of the lake, but I also set up 2.6 pingers, 1 for in the edge and 1 for the middle of the lake. It was just a float, because I know I've been to Decoy quite a lot and it tows quite bad when the wind catches it, so I set these rigs up with a bulk and 2 droppers just to nail my bait over where I'd fed, just for if the tow got up and it got really windy. The hook I actually chose to use was a Super LWG from the Guru range. A brilliant hook, stays sharp all day, and when you tie them up you actually end up cutting your hands, are that sharp, but I didn't lose a fish on them apart from that one I fouled up in the tail, so I think it's a pretty good result for the Super LWG hooks. Now on to Sunday. Sunday I fished for Matt Godfrey on the Hallcroft Teams of 4 Silverfish League. It's not a league I've actually entered myself, but when I've been twice before now, and I've enjoyed both times, so I knew I'd get a good day's fishing, and with the weather being warm I thought it could be fantastic. So James then did our team draw and put me on bridge 37, good peg in the bowl. The fish either apparently going to live in the arms or in the bowl, but I fancied the bowl this time. It was really deep in the bowl, and yeah, really fancied it. So I set up my pellet rig. That was just to fish left and right, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I fished a ground bait line at 13 metres just straight in front of me. And I also fished 2 short lines here because it's the same depth at 13 metres as it is short, and they normally catch, if they're going to catch in this bowl, they normally catch short. So I fished another one with ground bait where I potted in 3 pots, and a line where I just put a little bit of raw joker and a few casters in my pot and just potted that out of the way. What I actually do on my ground bait lines is, obviously I fish 1 short and 1 long, is I pot in, interestingly to a lot of you, I pot in 3 pots of ground bait, just loose, just straight in the cup, like you would do in the edge for carp, just press it in and cup it in like that. I just think it makes a nicer spread of bait, and it's nicer when you're catching big skimmers for them to come and settle over a little area, and I think that sets your little area lovely and you can catch them a lot better like that. So that's the way I feed my ground bait. On the morning of the match there was actually a really big fog cloud come over the actual lakes, and you couldn't see your float very far out. So I wouldn't normally start short here because the fish don't seem to live in close, but I did on this day just so I could see my float for anything else. But I caught a few perch to begin with, then it moved to roach, and I actually hooked a skimmer short after about an hour. Thought, oh, it could be really, really good today if I'm caught a skimmer short this early. And when I eventually could see my float, I went out to 13 metres over my ground bait and caught a good run of like 6 to 10 ounce skimmers. Come back short to rest that line, caught a few, and then in the 3rd hour it went lift off. I just caught a bream after bream after bream short, and by this point I probably had £30 in my net then. And then for some reason I just killed it stone dead. I never had a bite for ages, and when I did I just caught a little skimmer, and yeah, quite a sad end to the match really, because I ended up weighing £34, which was 3rd on the lake, but only £40 won the match. £42 I think won the match, and if I just took it a bit steadier on the feed I might have been able to catch that, so one to learn for next time. Now my peg on this day was only like, it was 6 foot, 6.5 foot deep, quite a deep peg for Hallcroft, and I set up 2 rigs. One was a 4x14 Chianti with strung out number 10s throughout the bottom 3rd of the rig just to fish through the water, and the other was a 0.5 Gloucester, just with a bulk and 2 droppers. There wasn't much wind or tow, so a 0.5 got the rig down quite quickly and just fishing nicely, yeah. Now my elastic of choice is the Preston 6 slip. I just know it's going to do its job. I've had it in my kits all winter, never had to change it, so that's my elastic set up perfectly. My main lines on my rigs was 013 power line, down to an 08 hook length with an 18 F1 Guru maggot hook. Now these hooks are again incredibly sharp, incredibly thin, so when you fish with a silverfish they're absolutely perfect. And when you do actually put a maggot on the hook, the maggot presents itself perfect, and I just think they're the hooks to use for silverfish.